This is where the fun begins.
Hello, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, droids, aliens, everyone, thank you for being here. Welcome to Cantina Social Hour. It is great to be here on Friday night. Hope everybody is doing spectacularly because it's a great day. It's a big day. It's an opportunity to celebrate, and we'll get into all that in just a little bit. But I am so happy to be here as always. And thank you all for joining me. Thank you for coming in and being a part of Cantina Social Hour. I really appreciate each and every one of you who is hanging out with us this evening. So I have some guests that we're going to introduce in just a little bit. Before we get there, as you guys know, we've been focusing on the Cantina quite a bit, so we're going to continue to do that, talking about the Haslab Eisely Cantina Playset. We're going to talk about the latest developments for Hasbro Star Wars. There's also a couple hot toys that have been announced in the last couple of days. And yeah, we'll just be focused on, the latest news that you guys are fully aware of. So yeah, let me see who is joining us so far in the Cantina tonight, and we will see what is good. So again, welcome. All right, Islam, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us this evening. No name, how are you doing? Good to see you again. Britt, how's it going, my friend? Thank you for joining us tonight. Dean, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out with us. Hal Runner Base, it's been a while since I've seen you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Mary, how's it going, Mary? Always good to have you in the Cantina. Adam, how is it going? Howdy to you. Susan, how's it going? Happy Friday. Deb, Zeph, and Dad, how is it going? Marino, how are you doing? Hello from LA. You're just up the road. Jesse, how are you doing, Jesse? Happy Cantina Day indeed, in more ways than one. Winger Luz, how is it going? Awesome. My SW guys, hello. Jeffrey, how are you doing? Glorious day indeed. William, how's it going? Good to see you again. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for being here with us. Mike Tarkin, how's it going, Mike Tarkin from Canada? Good to see you once again. Dr. Jones, how are you doing? Rogue Killer, how's it going? HoloNet1, how are you doing? Chris, how's it going, my friend? It's Tonica time indeed. Good to see you, Chris, from bantaskull.com. Tim, how's it going, Tim? Hello, hello. Tyrone, how's it going? Alex, what's good, Alex? Good to see you. Yeah. Big day. Great news. Awesome stuff. Marino, how's it going? Good to see everybody that is with us. Marco, hello to you. Thank you for being here tonight. Yeah. Pico B1. How's it going, Pico B1? Good to see you. Awesome. We're off to a great start, you guys. Thank you all for being here. Genuinely. It is always awesome to spend my Friday night hanging out at the Cantina with like-minded folks who like to collect little plastic people action figures and set them up on our shelves. That's what we do. Thank you, guys. Riley, Bob, how's it going? Good to see you. Sweet. All right, you guys. So we have some guests in the house. I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. One of our guests is running a little late, so she may not be making it right away. And that is Nilda from Appetite for Collectibles, who's been here on the show in recent months. Once she is able to come in, if she is able to come in, we will just add her to the show. But until then, all right, let's go ahead and get this show on the road and get things started with our guests. All right. Making his very first appearance on Cantina Social Hour from the Toy Anxiety podcast, we've got the one and only Ryan Doell in the house. Ryan, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy Friday to everyone. Hope everyone down south is having a good long weekend if you got today off as well. And no, things are great. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm glad we were able to do this during this campaign that, I know you've been focused on it over on Toy Anxiety. So it's going to be great to have you on for this.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I was pretty surprised. I know there was a lot of leaks beforehand about this.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like, oh, I think this is what we're getting. And I was still like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. But because I didn't want to get my hopes up.
Sure.
Right. And then here it is. Here we are. And now it's backed.
Now it's backed. And I love the Figure and Dan shirt that you got going. That's cool.
Oh, thank you very much. Star Wars Celebration Chicago. I think that's where I got this one.
Nice. Very nice. I got my Time for Tonica still.
Nice.
Been wearing it every week these last few weeks. All right. And then we have the man, the myth, the legend, formerly of rebelscum.com. I can't even begin to list the contributions this guy has had to this hobby. He'll tell you for himself. Dan Curto, how's it going?
Well, what an intro. Wow. I didn't know we were supposed to wear a special shirt, so I'm just wearing a plain gray one. Sorry.
Plain gray is perfectly fine. You could have worn the post office uniform. That would have been cool. Postman uniform.
Oh, yeah, that'd be different. That'd be different for sure. Well, thanks for having me. I don't remember if we've been on this show, but it's been a while. But you and I have talked many times in the past, and hopefully we will again in the future. This has been a lifelong passion of mine, and super excited for what I woke up to see in the news this morning. So
very cool. It's been quite a day. Absolutely. So Ryan, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit. This is your first time on Social Hour. Give us a little bit of background on your collecting, what you do at Toy Anxiety, and just a little bit of an introduction for our guests that may not be familiar with you quite yet.
All right. Well, Ryan or Doell, you can call me either way. Most people do. Like most people call me Doell. A lot of the viewers. You find me on Toy Anxiety on Tuesday nights. Also on Gotham City Tonight on Wednesday nights with Alex Brewer, Fan Plastic 4. He's one of the sculptors at Mondo. And, I do talk a lot about Star Wars. I've even had comments of people saying I am brainwashed for liking Star Wars at this particular time. But I've been collecting for, it feels like, forever, right? I'm original trilogy kid. And especially since once Power of the Force 2 came out, that's kind of like, that's the point kind of where I go from playing with toys to collecting toys, and kind of just been going strong since then. I'm down with legacy scale, 3.75. That's my jam. Cause I do just like as you see Victoria behind her and myself as well. I like doing the world building and having those like weird alien creatures and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm super excited about the Haslab as well. And so far, all these all the legacy scale Haslabs have just been absolute like knockouts. So we got another one. So yeah, that's pretty much my background there with Star Wars. Just been always into it, and I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Dan, I know we've had you for sure on Cantina Chatter podcast in recent, even years ago, you were on Cantina Chatter podcast, and I think we did do a social hour, but I'm trying to think like when it was. It has to have been a few years ago at this point. But I'm sure, folks know the name Mr. Curto. Tell us a little bit about what that means exactly.
Well, original trilogy. I saw the first Star Wars on the big screen when I was a kid. I was 9 years old when it came out. So I go way, way, way back. Have always collected the comic books, the action figures, the trading cards. And around 2000 or so, I was given the opportunity to join, you mentioned earlier, Rebel Scum, which I updated and maintained that site for 10 years. And the photo archive that I built there, and there were other people involved. I don't want to take 100% credit, but it's still there. It still holds up. And I hear from people all the time that it's a good resource and reference for them for the older figures. Not so much the new ones, because I'm not involved anymore, but they don't seem to update the new ones anymore. But there are other websites that do a fantastic job maintaining all that. I check them out all the time to see what the latest and greatest is. But that's from the action figure side, although there's one more. I co-wrote with Steve Sansweet the Ultimate Star Wars Action Figure Guide that came out in 2012. So it's a little outdated, but it was cool at the time. And then just non-action figure side, I also, for almost 10 years, was an official sketch card artist for Topps. So I got to illustrate original sketch cards for Star Wars projects, which was as a old school comic book fan I mentioned before, and Star Wars fan, this was very, very exciting for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have both of you on here. Again, hopefully our other guest is able to join a little bit later. But yeah, so it's been a very big day for, this Haslab and just for collecting in general, I feel like. I mean, like you guys, I mean, I wasn't around when the OT, was in theaters, but I came about like during that age between the originals and the prequels. So I was exposed, and I had seen the original trilogy before the prequels, and I was collecting the Power of the Force 2 line before the prequels. So, it's kind of that weird area, I guess. But, this, as I talked about every week in the last few weeks, this project has been a dream project. This HasLab has been huge. And it's the one thing that, if you would ask me, and I've said this many times, hey, Victoria, if Hasbro could make one thing, what would you want it to be? And it would have been this playset, this Haslab Mos Eisley Cantina set. So I'm extremely excited. Did you guys hear the big news from this morning? The milestone that this campaign heard. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear the big? Okay. Well, I got it right here. So hang tight. Here we come.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice.
There it is. There it is.
I love it.
The HasLab has funded 8,000 backers. Happened sometime overnight. I was monitoring all day yesterday. Every little while, I was checking my phone. Is it going to happen on 4th of July? How amazing would that be? I kept watching. Didn't happen by the time I went to bed. This morning, I wake up. First thing I do, I grab the phone. I'm like, let's refresh this page. And I was like, it's above 8,000. That was like amazing. I felt so happy, so elated. And I didn't know what direction tonight's live stream was going to take. I didn't know if we were going to still be saying back the bar, we still need to keep, rallying behind it and pushing it. I didn't know what it was going to be. But to know that we're here tonight more on a celebratory sort of aspect of it is very immense. And, I feel very overjoyed.
Yeah, no, this is exciting. And we're getting, and again, the Tonicas, like you've been pushing that forever. This has got to be a huge milestone for you and this channel just to even knowing you're getting those two figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't forget Wooher.
Yep.
a new one, finally.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been using that same sculpt for 15 years.
They pretty much have. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was cool. I was like you. I was checking it yesterday throughout the day. Just quickly saying, okay, where are we now? For no real reason. I mean, I already had backed 2 of them, so I'm like, I got no horse in this race except I want to make sure that it's actually coming out. So I woke up today before I went to work. I just checked again, and I was like, yes, finally, that's cool. Because this is one of the things. Like the Cantina is one of the most iconic in all Star Wars scenes. And although there have been 3.5 different cantinas made over the years, they never really did it justice until now. So it's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still using my Power of the Force 2 cardboard cutout.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. It truly is, Dan. And, I had an episode of the Vintage Collection podcast last week that I published. And, I mean, this is truly one of the most famous scenes from the most famous franchise in the entire world. And even folks that haven't seen Star Wars, may very well be familiar with that scene just because it's so well known in pop culture. And you start this original movie, and maybe it doesn't have the impact that it does now that there's all this Star Wars, all these other movies and shows and whatnot. But back then, me as a kid watching the original Star Wars, it was like you start off with these humans that are fighting against, the evil empire with, against stormtroopers and, the masked Darth Vader. And then they go to Tatooine, you see some Jawas, you see some Tusken Raiders, and they're also wearing masks. But then you get to this cantina where you just see like, wow, this is really how diverse and crazy and interesting this universe really is. And it just like, as a kid, it really captivates you and like makes your imagination run wild. And ever since then, I've been chasing like this sort of a project for to house all of my Cantina figures and aliens. So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
When this came out, for me, the creatures, the aliens, they were the more exciting parts. Not so much the humans and the main story. I wanted to know like what was the background story of Greedo or whatever else, alien. And I remember as a kid, the local library in New Jersey that I would go to had pictures of the aliens on a poster, like, hey, read books. They had a Star Wars book, not too many back then. But I'm like, who is this alien that's in this picture? Because I don't know that character's name, so I have to find out. And you get the source books, and they don't have it. And it was years later where they named these characters. I think West End Games was the one who gave most of them names and background stories. And some of it's changed, but a lot of it's still the same. So this is very exciting. Personally, I wanted a Death Star. I'm going to just put that out there because I do every time. But Cantina is fantastic.
Yeah. No, one of the big things I didn't know this existed with the Cantina as well, but there used to be the don't drink and drive PSAs.
Yes.
With the Cantina aliens. Like it's just and of course like there's also the iconic scene or the iconic holiday special.
Oh, absolutely.
Arthur as well. And it's and I don't know if anyone has it, but there's that Starlog magazine that talks about the holiday special that came out during the holiday special. And it's B. Arthur in the middle on the cover with all the Cantina aliens.
Nice. I don't remember that one, but
Google it when you get a chance.
I will.
Pretty awesome. And like you said, it's stuff like that where you see it, and when you're a kid especially, it really does feed your imagination. And I think that's what's made this line of toys since Power of the Force like very special as well. Even the original vintage, the actual vintage
right.
collection, right? What makes them so special then is because they were doing that world building and they were making toys of these creatures where it's like, yeah, you want to know more about them, but it also gave you the opportunity to create your own stories with them as well.
Absolutely.
And and we get to do that all over again once we get this Cantina set up, and once we get it in our hands, because I think that's one thing I've seen one of the criticisms always been like, well, what do you do with it? It's just a bar. It's kind of like, well, yeah, it's a bar. You can do whatever you want with it. The only limitations are your imagination. Like, what do you want to do? Right? Like, like have fun.
Yeah.
Plus, it was a little different than the holiday special, but they still had some of the same characters, some of the masks or whatever. But it also just appeared, a couple years ago now in The Mandalorian. So it's more recent, right? So you could have some of those characters in the same bar, different bartender, different patrons. But hey, anybody could stop by.
Anybody, and they've made enough aliens throughout the prequel era and all that kind of stuff that you could fill it with whatever you want, which is great.
Yeah,
that's what's great about a playset like that, or like this Cantina, because literally, like I said, like your limitations are only what you make it. But I am really, really hoping that they are going to make a Pelimoto to go with this, because I really need a Pelimoto.
I think that's just a matter of time. She's definitely put in a lot of screen time on the different shows, and she's definitely memorable.
Yeah, no, she's great. And I think one of the other ideas I've had in my head too about getting this is, now that I know that it's backed, it's just been like going through my head of like, I'd love to do like a bar fight scene, like the old style Western saloon style bar fights, and like, again, there's a lot you can do with this, and it's so much fun, and it's I'm glad that they did make this modular as well, so that
I was
you
going to
can
talk about that.
yeah, we'll talk about that, and I want to see how that would apply, and we'll talk about this too as well, like because I too would also love to get a Death Star playset. And is this kind of like a glimpse of what could be the Death Star playset with it being modular?
Right.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Victoria. We're monopolizing your show.
Yeah.
No monopolizing. We have a bouncer in here. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
right.
It's all good. It's all good.
So I was going to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just before we get too much into Cantina, we do have some other topics we want to touch on. Before we do that, we have 111 in the house as we get the show underway. Thank you guys. Welcome. If you're just tuning in, thank you for being here with us. It is great to see you. So we say to you,
Hello.
thank you for joining us. I also need to give a shout out to from last week. Greg Lutz. Greg, you backed the bar during our stream, and I missed your comment. I didn't see it till I was going back through comments the next day. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate that very much. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look and see who has been joining us. Just kind of get a quick look, and then we'll get started with our topics that we have for this evening. So we have Peak Obi-Wan, how is it going? Good to see you. Hit the like. Yeah, sure. Why not? We've got Capitan with us. How are you doing? Cami and Fixer. Oh yeah. Now we're talking for sure. Seth is delirious. How's it going? Agreeing that we need Pelimato. Holonet 1. Yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll get there. Jason, how's it going? Jason, good to see you as always. Thank you for tuning in this evening. We've got Adam in the house. Adam, how's it going? Adam, our bouncer, who is monitoring the chat for us, making sure that everybody is kind and respectful to one another. We got SG. Cantina seen in New Hope. First time we see the unmasked non-human people, including Chewbacca. Yep. Other than our main characters, it is true. 17.28. How is it going? Yeah, Jenny was in the cantina. I don't know if I'd say that she was his girlfriend, Jenny, but she was definitely sitting with him in that moment. Stanley, how's it going? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Josh, how's it going? Good to see you. Awesome. Awesome.
I like that comment.
Yeah. That'd be funny. But he's still there. He's still there. Don't worry. He's just not as prominent as he used to be. All right. And Monkey, how's it going? Good to see you. Cool. All right, you guys. So we have some topics we're going to touch on before we get further into the Haslab. So we're going to start off. I just want to mention really quick that there is a sale currently on Entertainment Earth. So I'm going to bring that up for just a moment. They're running a deal right now, 4th of July special, where you save money as you spend more. You save more money. So if you use for in-stock items, the code Victoria, just my name, Victoria, you get 10% off if it's in stock. So definitely take advantage of that. Next thing up is there are some brand new. I know you guys love the Epic Hero figure line. Most of the audience loves them. So we're going to touch on them just really quick. Because, they are 3 3/4 inch. They are Star Wars. And, we cover as much Star Wars collectibles as we can, even if it's just briefly. So for these, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our pal Jason at Yakface because he had these posted initially, I believe. So Darth Maul is joining the $10 Epic Heroes lineup. And he will be coming to this line later this year. So it's the 4-inch series that, for the most part, fit in with the vintage collection because they're essentially the same scale. So Darth Maul is probably a pretty wise one. He's one of those evergreen characters that is probably always going to be sought after by any younger collectors who may be coming into this line. The other one, we got a deluxe Boba Fett from the book of Boba Fett. And this kind of reminds me of back Power of the Force 2 days when they used to do like Luke with that desert skiff and Han with that Stormtrooper with the crowd control thing. Like, they just had these wild, like, big deluxe accessories they would come with. So Boba has a very ginormous rocket jetpack. Yeah, he's got to be careful there. But yeah, Boba Fett, not a bad inclusion to this line. It's interesting they did go with this version of Boba Fett. But cool to see nonetheless. And then finally, Moff Gideon from season 3 of The Mandalorian is coming to Epic Heroes. Another interesting pick, because we haven't actually had this, and be interesting to see is if this is maybe like a hint, because this is definitely one I would love to see in TVC. But what do you guys think? Are you guys collecting Epic Heroes? Have you bought any of them?
Dan, go for it.
Oh, I have not. No. I might get a Stormtrooper, like the original trilogy characters, Stormtrooper and Darth Vader. I might get those. But for me, I'm sticking 3 3/4 inch fitted collection. Yeah, I don't know. I get why they exist, but it's just not something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I'm with Dan on this one as well. I'm not collecting this line. I'm happy that it exists because we do need. I find that now TVC and Black Series, like both of them, they're very collector focused and not quite as kids focused, especially with the price that they are. So I think this is great for kids, and I'm glad that this line does exist, because there needs to be something so that the kids of today are the collectors of tomorrow, and I think this is a hobby we don't need to die out with our generation.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. I haven't really been. The only one I bought was The Mandalorian, because of, I've said this before, the dark saber he comes with is better than the one that comes in the TVC Mando. It's a little more bold and visible, like on the shelf. So I did pick him up for that reason only, just for the dark saber. I hope kids are buying these. I mean, I see quite a few of these still on the shelves, and I think some Walmarts did like mark them down. So I do hope kids are continuing to come into Star Wars action figures. The ones I work with, I know don't really do toys as much as kids did in the past, but I hope that it still remains something that they can at least see, like, oh, this exists, it's affordable, it's something they can hopefully jump into. And it's always good to have lower price points too for gift givers and those who may not be necessarily familiar with the minutia of the vintage collection, and the more, I don't want to say obscure characters, because I don't really do that anymore for the mainline, but the ones that are maybe newer media focused that may not be as recognizable. So maybe there's a place for them for the time being still.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What we need them for.
All right, so the next thing I want to cover is the Black Series, the Stranger helmet. So this is another helmet item from the helmets line for Black Series, and this one I think it actually went up last week, and we just didn't get around to covering it last week. So yeah, from the Acolyte, it is sold out and has Repulse at $99.99, but it is still available in other places. I think Entertainment Earth has it. Haven't seen it on Amazon yet. I don't know if they're going to carry it. Big Bad Toy Store has it, but yeah, it's if you've seen the show, then you basically know what it is. It's the bad guy's helmet, essentially, without getting into too much detail there. So
it's a lot of screen time on this week's episode.
Yes. Absolutely. Do either of you pick up any of the helmets?
It depends on who it is. Like, I picked up Carson Tave's helmet. That was a must need. That's my boy Paul. Got to have it. And I picked up this one too, so that I can go, and this is what I'll like, when I'm doing dishes and laundry, this is probably what I'll wear.
I do not get into the helmets. I don't think they would fit my head. I've got a big head, so I don't know about that. But again, my focus nowadays is just the 3 3/4 inch line. But this looks fantastic, honestly. I mean, when I saw this, when I saw the show with this in it, I was like, "Holy cow, that looks ridiculously cool!" And what's the story on that? And it was what I was hoping it was, because I know about cortosis from years and years ago, and
Right.
oh look, now it's legit.
Yeah, I love that they're bringing in even Lucas was bringing in legends stuff in the prequels,
Right.
and characters and all that kind of stuff that originally debuted in comics, brought them into the main, canon, I guess, whatever canon means nowadays. Who knows? Doesn't matter. But get to see some of those characters live action, and then sure enough, now we're bringing in some of the other mythology and stuff in. And I mean, Dave Filoni's been doing that too for so long. So it's I don't know, man. This character is so cool. It is some of the last couple episodes have been some of the coolest Star Wars stuff I've seen, in a while. Really cool stuff. So I'm also really surprised that no figures of this character have been announced yet at all in any scale. It's like, but the helmet's cool, so I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah, it's a cool looking helmet, and you never know, like with the helmets, like the Kylo Ren one is like the most expensive one now, like on the secondary market. Just you never know what people are gonna want eventually. So it's cool that it's here. And it's the kind of thing that if you're collecting the helmets and you might want it, if you're picking and choosing like I am with them, then maybe you're gonna be a little more selective. But I mean, I'm considering it. I mean, I want to see where things go with the character in the show. But yeah, I agree, Ryan. Like, I really want a figure of this character in TVC, especially. He's like, I've had my list, and we've had the Cantina, Haslab, we've had the the pipelines for like the main and New Hope characters. So this guy has shot into my top 10 like most wanted TVC figures. So.
Right? Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Or in the same bath, depending on how you want to phrase it.
I think it's definitely a figure that they're going to make in time, but I like that they didn't make him yet, because they would have to have revealed him by now, or it would have leaked somehow. And this is like something you wanted to keep secret from the show. And one of the things, if you look back in movies, toys always spoil it, right? They always give it away because it comes out so far in advance. And I like they hold back. I mean, famously, they held back Grogu, or the child, for like a year before you started getting projects. Yeah, because they didn't want anything to leak about him, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think too, even if they released this figure without a removable helmet, I think that people would have been like, "Well, are we getting the other one without the helmet?" So I think this is also. I think you're right. I think just hang tight, and then that way you can have it. So it's like, switch from the helmet or just to his face.
Right.
Save themselves some grief.
Yeah. Britt's asking, I wonder if we'll be able to see out of it. That's a good question. I don't know.
Use the Force.
Use the Force. Sensory deprivation. Adam says, I'm not getting why this helmet reads is so bright and copper when on the show it looks nothing like this. I know it's lighting, but the difference is not working for me. I feel like on this week's episode, it did look more like this because we did get to see it a little bit more. But yeah, in that last episode and the previous ones, it definitely seems a little, darker.
Right.
And
it's definitely lighting.
Yeah.
Even if you looked in like the one scene, not to give away spoilers from the show, but if they had like a scene of the Rock with the raw metal in it, it was a copper color. So,
right.
Without giving away secrets, because that's
and
not
even
important.
when he's fighting too, when the sabers were close to his face, it also had that very copper look.
Right.
Hellrunner Base, how's it going? Have they said if this helmet will have any gimmicks like voice changing or lights? I don't think so. The description does not say that it has any of that. I think a voice changer would be cool. But it's not listed in the actual breakdown of the item.
Could use some breathing sounds now.
Yeah, you got to supply that yourself.
That's right. Yeah. Don't forget to breathe.
So just want to take care of a little bit of business here real quick. I saw a comment that wasn't very nice, so it's gone. Person is gone. They can't comment the rest of the show. So yeah, be kind, guys. There's no, and 99.9% of people are amazing, of course, as always. but there's always that one or two people that have to come in and not be very nice. So be polite.
Well, we can't have things. Stop it.
Yeah.
For sure. And then there was another comment from 17.28. Maybe his name is going to be revealed at the end, and that's why it's called The Stranger. And when I saw that too, I kind of agree, because when I saw this listed as The Stranger, it kind of reminded me of the child right before we knew he was a Grogu. He didn't have a name at that point. Everything just said the child, the child, the child. So maybe it's that same kind of thing that he'll get a name eventually.
Yeah. Blake from Toy Collector Magazine points out too, it does say electronic in the name for this helmet. There it is.
There you go.
It does something. We just don't know what.
That is a very good point. Yeah. So yeah, we don't know what it does. We'll find out.
I'm assuming there is a San Diego Comic-Con panel for Star Wars. I haven't heard anything about that though, but I'm thinking maybe that's where they'll showcase it and show you what it does. Right. That's like in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, a few weeks. I'll be there, so if they have it on hand, maybe I'll. I was gonna say I'm gonna try it on, but no, I'm not gonna try it on. Not at Comic-Con.
Try it on for all of us.
Yeah,
we can live vicariously through you.
I'm like, I'll sick a couple days later with the cold or something.
Yeah.
I do miss Comic-Con. That was insane show. I'm sure it's gotten even worse since the time that I went, but yeah, that was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a big deal now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gotten even crazier after 2020.
Really?
Like it's just I don't know, just always seems so crowded, like just more expensive, I think more in that route. Like it just seems so expensive.
Will you be there this year, Ryan?
I will not. I did a bunch of traveling in April and May. And so I was like, I'm going to go do that. And then the next time I travel will be for Celebration Japan. That'll be the big one.
Right on. Very cool. All right, next topic, we have the some brand new Hot Toys figures that kind of came out of nowhere. As usually happens, they never tease anything. It's just like, here you go. This is coming. Pre-order it like the next morning. And they've done it again. So the first one is ARC Trooper Echo. Echo is coming to the Hot Toys lineup. So they've done quite a few 501st characters so far. And they're not stopping. So we have Echo coming. Echo's priced at $275. And as far as what he comes with, well, he's got an interchangeable head. So you get the helmet, or you can have him with the portrait. Rolling eyeballs. You get the backpack. You get his twin pistols, or you get the longer clone blaster. You get a sort of like a data pad kind of thing. Bunch of interchangeable hands. You get the base. So yeah, it's cool to see this. And here's just a little glimpse here at all the ones they've done. There's like Jesse and Echo and Fives, and I think they did some of the older ones from pre the Clone Wars as well. So it's pretty cool that they're, if you're buying them all, very expensive, obviously, but it's kind of nice that they've stuck with something this long, with these first guys.
It is cool that they're doing this, because again, once you see them all together, and when they do those big displays where they put, like when they have all the Bad Batch together, so when you have all the teams together, it's like super impressive. So I would love to see this setup with Anakin and Ahsoka. Right? And like the ones from Ahsoka, from the flashback episodes, and you put them all together like this, I think it would look pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would look really cool. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, unless I missed it, I didn't see a photo with like Anakin or Ahsoka in here anywhere. No, I don't think there is one. So that's interesting. But I mean, the figure looks great. Portrait is great as always. In addition to that, there's also ARC Trooper 5s. So we'll pull him up. So here's 5s, and you know, very similar in terms of like, you know, what it is. It's just a, you know, repainted figure. Essentially, the head sculpt's a little bit different. I like that he has a tattoo that looks really sharp. Goatee is a nice touch because, you know, they were a little bit different in the show. And the accessories are fairly similar, except he's got like a longer bazooka cannon looking thing that the other one doesn't come with.
Yeah, the heavy artillery.
Heavy artillery.
Yeah.
I mean, they look fantastic, but I wish that was something I could afford to get into.
Right. I get very selective of who I get from Hot Toys. Like I get like it has to be someone that's just like that's my dude or woman. Right? That has to be someone like right. Like it's you know. So it's but these are Hot Toys. They nail it every time.
Yeah, they do good stuff, and it is very much a rabbit hole. You know, you say, "Oh, I just want one." It's that no, that's never going to happen.
No.
Never
I'm
stop.
trying to think like what franchise could you just get one, you know, and no. The Rocketeer maybe, but there's probably variations
where there's just one.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And that might be that's it.
Maybe RoboCop, I don't know.
RoboCop, yeah. Right. I don't even know if you could do it with Judge Dredd necessarily.
Yeah. Indiana Jones has like a whole supporting cast. They eventually will fill all that in.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, anyway. It looks fantastic. I really am impressed to see the pictures anyway when they release it. I'm like, that's a sculpted thing? That's not a picture of the actor? Wow.
I know. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. So I always ask, because I know my pal in here, Mary, in the chat, you know, collects a lot of Hot Toys as well. So I always like to see if Mary's gonna be buying those. Mary, are you gonna be buying those, either of those two, to add to your collection? All right. That brings us to the cantina, right? The big news today, the big focus for these last few weeks, you know, in the Star Wars collecting community. It's been backed. It's at 8,000 plus. I think it's almost to 9,000. It's like it's moving along, right? With stretch goals to be unlocked, hopefully, in the coming days. These last few days of this campaign. So yeah, let's talk about where things are at currently. So we're gonna go ahead and pull up Hasbro Pulse and take a look. This was the number when I pulled this window up. It was at 86.51. This is when I opened this page like a couple hours ago. 87.10. So it is moving along towards the first tier. So awesome. Keep going. I hope it keeps increasing. But yeah, it's looking really good. I feel like maybe we can all sleep a little bit easier now that it's actually been funded, though.
For sure. Like, because it's one of those things where I've been checking like daily, like since it started. Like, what? It's still not back to like, because yeah. But again, that's my bias as well. But this is like super exciting. And I think I'm also just happy to finally be getting the Tonicas. Like that's something that's so long overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost a half century. Yeah, this is looking really good. And you know, every Haslab that we've seen in the past, you know, many of them have spiked. At least for TVC, they've spiked in those last, you know, few days of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's counterproductive, but a lot of folks do like to wait to see if it's actually been back before they themselves back. So, you know, it's obviously that some of that I assume is happening here as well. But I also want to pull up some further data to look at here. And this is my pal John Miko from the SW, the Vintage Collection Facebook group, put together this tracking dashboard for this Haslab, which is very handy. It's got some great info. And this is where things are at. So it's above 8,000 currently. We're looking at where things are at. And yeah, we're at day 29, 8,566. I think it is updating in real time, but I need to refresh this to get it 100% there. Daily total 751 and a 9.61% change from the previous day. So we bring in some comparisons here. And I know that, John likes to look at Giant Man, because Giant Man had a very similar trajectory at the very beginning. We can see that this has now surpassed where Giant Man was at the same time, which of course, this is more of a truncated campaign window. So that's expected. But even if we look at the very end of Giant Man, there was never a spike that was quite this sharp. So that is quite encouraging to see. And I hope that keeps on going up higher and higher so that we can hit those tiers. But yeah, it's good to see, this in comparison to that, because as you can see, both of the trajectories are pretty similar up until they diverge towards the end.
Yeah,
I
but
think we'll see.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Oh, I think we'll see over the weekend. I mean, people are going to get FOMO really bad because this is it, right? So what is it, Monday at midnight? And if you want it for a reasonable price, but people argue that, but reasonable price, it's going to be worse later when it finally comes out. This is the only time to do it. This is the only time to get it. Forget the stretch goals for a minute. If you want a Cantina, however long you've been a fan, however long you've been collecting, I mean, Hasbro for years said they won't make playsets. They won't do it. They don't sell. Well, clearly they are. So I mean, to me, this is exciting because of the fact that it's the Cantina, the fact that it's a playset, the fact that it's modular, the fact that we've got 6 action figures that are included in this campaign on exclusive card backs, 3 of which will not be available any other way, shape, or form. I mean, guys, if you want it, this is the only time to get it.
Yeah, I have a feeling too that even if people bought doubles, they could probably sell the Tonicas and pay back their Cantina with just those 2 figures. But because that's
sure,
the FOMO is going to happen with that too, especially if they stick to their guns on this only here and only now.
Yeah.
Well, for the 3, that's what I believe, and you obviously, Victoria, you'll know all the details on this one better than I do. But I think this is the only way to get Wooher and the Tonica sisters. The other 3, maybe, but not on those card backs.
Yeah.
Right. So so as far as they've said, there was a Q&A last week as well, and the way they explained it during the Q&A was that the Tonicas and Wooher are exclusive to this set as of right now. So I don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean it'll change later? I mean, I don't know, but that's what they said. They said no current plans. As far as the other ones go, they'll definitely if they unlock, they will be able to be offered in the mainline and alternate cards. And if they do not unlock, they may possibly be available in alternate cards for the other 3 tiers.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, like you guys are saying, if you're just in it for the Cantina, well, the figures will you could I don't know why you'd want to sell those figures because they're amazing, but you could sell them later and get your money back. But yeah, that's people get into this for all kinds of reasons. So
I really think that Greedo specifically is going to be available in a different card back in one way, shape, or form, regardless of how he does, because that's probably the most important alien in the entire scene. He has the most screen time. He has the most interaction with everybody. He's not a blink and you miss it character. I mean, Greedo really shouldn't be part of this campaign, in my opinion. I think a blue Snaggletooth would probably have had the same nostalgic factor to it, and you could reuse that tooling for a shorter maroon Snaggletooth down the road. Just saying. But Greedo is definitely, I think, coming. Now, the other 2, they're not as well known. They are blink and miss it characters. One, if you blink for like a fraction of a second, you miss them.
Right.
But it looks so cool. I'd love to get them. I don't know. But Greedo definitely. I think he's definitely coming regardless. And I could be wrong, but
yeah. I was thinking too, if they're going to do a Greedo, they should have made it really extra special and put him in high heels. So it was like the behind the scenes, right? Like just something to like totally throw people off, to be like, what the heck? Like it would be like getting Tarkin with slippers, right? Like it would be so much fun. But I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head with, I was really surprised this did not have a blue snaggletooth as a stretch goal. Like it's such an iconic figure. What a great time to put it in. I think a lot of folks were asking, where's B. Arthur as well again. But I think she has potential to come out as a Disney Parks exclusive.
That could be.
Right.
For now, wasn't there, when this was leaked, there were 8 figures that was in the description. So was there anything to said? Probably not. But was there anything said about like who maybe they would have been?
Yeah, so I mean those leaked images, as I understand it, were from very, very, very early in the process, and we're talking like over a year ago at this point. So that was only like it was never a definite thing. It was only like that was a very early, out of multiple approaches they could have taken with it. There were other approaches as well.
Gotcha.
Somewhat less figures and so forth. But for whatever reason, that one snapshot is what leaked out. And, I think people assumed that was final. But, when you're looking at very early materials for these kinds of things, especially like a Haslab campaign, like that's, as we know, it was changing at the very last minute. They even postponed the whole thing for a month until they finally announced and revealed it. So, so it's, it was, I don't think that was ever like a reality for this particular thing, but I can understand people see something and they kind of assume that's what it's going to be, but you can't ever, until things are finally officially announced, like you
exactly
gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, everything that they're putting in this though is still like super cool. Like getting the other Wolfman. I'm curious, are you guys also like using, because I mix and match my lines, I guess that's the way to put it. So I still use my like Power of the Force or Power of the Jedi Wolfman and my Power of the Jedi like British astronaut dude. Like they're still in my cantina with any updates that come out along the way, like the 30th anniversary figures, they're still in there.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to, because if you think about the vintage collection, like Phase 1 TVC 2010 to 2013, Cantina Aliens, there was Honda Baba, there was Dr. Evazon. Was that it, Dan? Were there any others?
Bomb
Vimden. Yeah, Bomb Vimden. And then Phase 2 of the vintage collection, there was Zutton, which was a repaint. And there was Figrin Dan, and then that pack with all the different aliens. So that's only five figures, right? So you have to pull from those other lines. And I do the same thing, Ryan. I have all the way from the Power of the Force too. If they haven't been updated, then that's what you're going to see in my cantina display is those older figures that haven't gotten updates yet.
I still mix in the Kenner ones with them, and Mork for Mork, Battlestar Galactica guys. So it doesn't matter. I everybody stops by in Tatooine at some point or another.
Right.
Why not?
It is a spaceport, and it's like the spaceport bar, right? Like that's where you go to make connections. Seedy ones, but
I mean, are you really a Star Wars story if you're not going to the cantina?
Right. There's a reason why they put one specifically in the Disney parks as well, right? You need a cantina. Right. But no, and again, like both of you, I'm totally with all of that as well, like just mixing and matching. And I still feel like some of the figures from even like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I think some of those figures, those aliens, still hold up really well. Because a lot of people I know some people are kind of like, they're joint queens, they need that articulation, They needed the bending knees, all that kind of stuff. And I still feel like some of those still have all like the 30th anniversary line. Like they still have like a lot of articulation and all of that. And what's even great too is like the Saga line and all of that as well. Like you get, some of them are 2-for-1s. You're getting 2 aliens in one package for the price of one figure. Well, not anymore. But I mean, you get 2-for-1s in some of them, and we don't even get that anymore. So I mean, there's a lot of bang for your buck with some of these world builders.
Yeah. Every line from Kenner to now has had a Cantina alien or 2 or 3 or 4 in it, with the exception of the new movies, obviously.
Right.
But even some of those, like 2002, the Saga line had Dejas Per like out of nowhere. I'm like, he wasn't in Attack of the Clones, but it was a mixed thing. But I've always enjoyed, like, regardless, the most random alien in the background. I think that would be a cool figure. Like when they did the Power of the Jedi Ketwall, and then I find out like that the back of his head makes a whole other alien. So of course now I got to go buy 2 of them.
Right.
Because they never did Milos. They just kind of like said, "Oh well, yeah, just go buy 2 Ketwalls." I'm like, no. Make the actual review.
You're right.
And Hemdazan got a figure, and he's just a head in the film. It was just a head on a stick, but they made a whole body for him and everything. I mean, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I hope they kind of start doing that with Jabba's Palace more too.
Right.
Like they've made a lot of aliens from that as well. Like if you go out and do your hunting, you can flesh that one out really well.
And with Hasbro's Return to Tatooine campaign going on for at least the next year, right, until this actually comes out, I think we'll see a lot more of these background aliens from the Cantina just peppered in throughout the line. And dare I dream that we might get Chalman, the guy who actually owns the bar.
Right.
See,
awesome. That's a great call. I would like to see, like, even in the more modern stuff, like I said, Pelimoto would be one. If they repackaged another, like Mantis, do Dr. Mandibles, and it's another great excuse. This is another good reason to bring out Frog Lady for the first time as well. We haven't gotten her yet. So she would be a lot of, like, it's because, again, this all ties into the Cantina. This all ties back into Tatooine. We
can get Evie 99, who apparently has a new gig now that Jabba's dead. So, hey,
right, dude, another great reason to bring that character out, and then you use that the screenshot of him at the bar.
Yeah,
right. Like it's you could do all of that. I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential with this Return to Tatooine. Hopefully they do it, and I understand too. It probably can't be easy. I remember when we had Steve Evans on Toy Anxiety, I kind of asked him, I said, sometimes it feels like Star Wars collectors are never on the same page with who they want because there's so much that needs to get made and everyone has a different favorite character. And like, how do you handle that? How do you work around, like, every time the websites or the Facebook pages, when they do their brackets, their voting, their March Madness or whatever it is, they're like, what characters do you want to see? Everyone has a different top 10. It'll be 5,000 entries, all different top 10s. So like, how do you work around that? And it's, and he said, you know what, it's not going to make everybody happy. So that's been kind of good too, in a way, to kind of get told that, because you kind of need to sometimes know, you're not going to get everybody. Right. But I'm hoping that with this new campaign for Tatooine, I'm hoping we get almost everybody.
There's definitely a lot that they have made, and there's a few sort of significant ones that could be made. And if this Greedo gets through, there's like several Rhodians in the bar, slight deco changes here and there. I don't think Greedo actually had a holster, so you could kind of take that off and make him another Rhodian that was hanging out, maybe in Docking Bay 94 too. There's a couple in there, so there's lots of potential here. And if they do Docking Bay 94, I want to see the fat guy in the furry vest Jabba the Hutt. I want to see that version, but it's never going to happen. But I just like that idea.
I would love that. That would be a fun thing to have. I think let's we're gonna go off the rails here for one hot second. If they were gonna do a docking bay, I would really hope they do a like if they do like the signs for which number it is. I hope they make it interchangeable with Pelimotos. And would you want just like a horseshoe kind of thing where you can put your legacy Falcon in there?
That maybe half of one.
Maybe half a horseshoe just to have that the entrance.
Right.
Just kind of that area where stormtroopers kind of come
that's
filing
where the most
in.
interact. Right, exactly. So that'd be the most interaction would take place like right there. And if you go to the Mandalorian era, that's where all the droids hang out and get into their shenanigans.
Right. Yeah. Throw in some pit droids. We're good.
I think they should. I think Pelimoto should be a deluxe figure that comes with pit droids and that little was it the BD droid?
Yep.
I would have said R5, but he's now got his own release already. So
yeah. Well, again, that's another repaint, right? You just repaint the little dude and put him in.
Hello, MONONSD81. How's it going? You guys are listing off figures that I did a video earlier this year. I think it was called like 5 figures Hasbro will never make. And, hopefully they do. But Acmino was on there. Jabba from, the original way they filmed it was on there. And Shalman was on there. So, I hope they make those. So just be
my personal figure I want to see made, and it'll never happen. I've been told by Hasbro over the years they'll never do them, is Jackson from the original Marvel comics. Now, I say this because as a kid growing up, Star Wars #7 was the first adventure. I didn't read the newspaper strips at the time. I didn't know that existed. But that was the first time, like, what happens after the film? And this was the beginning of that. Now, Jackson was not the first expanded universe character, but he's certainly the most memorable from that story.
Right.
And I was told by so many people at Hasbro, was like, we're not doing that. We don't like anthropomorphic aliens. We want to do some other cool aliens. And I don't disagree. But, they made him in 6-inch. Gentle Giant did a fantastic statue. Come on. And don't do them in the retro line. Do them in the vintage collection line. That's what I want to see. But,
yeah, I'll take both.
yeah.
But remember, Dan, they also said that about the Tonikas for years and years.
I was gonna say that every time that I was involved with a fans' choice poll back in my Rebel Scum days, Tonica sisters were always off limits. Like literally any character at the time. This is like 2006, 7, 8, around there. Any other character, if they win, we'll make that character, right? But we can't vote for Tonica sisters. Now, little personal story. Part of that gig, I went to conventions. I was not in the room, but I was there in the booth when I forget Christine signed the rights so they could make it, and I was like, "Oh my, this is going to happen!" And then it just never did. And years, I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum, but now here we are. She's actually both of them. They're going to get made.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's exciting. Like years ago, no, we can't do that. We can't do it. Well, now we can.
Is it expensive for their rights? Was it? I don't know the numbers. I guess none of us will never know the numbers, what the contract was. But like, there's that tinfoil hat on my head that like has me wondering, like, is this Haslab also paying for those likeness rights in a sense? And that's why we're not going to see them outside of this Haslab, or like, I hope for Black Series collectors it happens, but Black Series doesn't seem to be a world building line.
Right.
So it's hard to say, right? What's going to happen. But I am curious.
It's such a funny thing too. And yeah, Dan, I have talked about it like over and over, but any actor from A New Hope that was signed as an artist rather than like an extra had to sign a contract, and they got the Tonikas. They got all those characters back then, but back in the 80s, Lucasfilm lost a lot of those contracts somehow, and then had to go back, in the 90s, 2000s, and get signatures again for a lot of those folks. And that included, again, the Tonikas. So like you said, Dan, Christine did sign at the time.
Mm-hmm.
but Angela did not. And, you know, she's talked about why she did not, you know, on my podcast episodes over the years. But that's changed because now she is signed. And, you know, this is finally happening. So, you know, things can change, right? Maybe we'll finally get that Jackson figure, Dan. You never know.
I'm hoping.
I hope so too.
I
would
was
love
told that if he did well in a fan poll, he would get made. And at one point, he came in 3rd place. And there was a time when Hasbro would use the fan choice poll, and they would just pick and choose all of the winners in the top 25, and they made almost all of them. But not that year. That year, they made Marjade and Jocasta Nu, and that was it. And Marjade was not the one that everybody voted for. So go figure. They made the wrong version.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I remember that fan vote though.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's still time. They keep making Marjade. They just did a new one in Black Series, I saw.
Yeah, and Jocasta Nu that would ended up being an exclusive somewhere, did it not?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Brian's Toys.
Right.
Yeah. Which okay.
Is that
And
still, do they exist still?
I don't know about that, but I have the figure finally. That I did not get it at the time that it came out, but years later I found one at a reasonable price, and I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, still double digits, right? That's the reasonable price.
Right. Well, they're all double digits now.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like it's funny that it's a Brian's Toys exclusive because I only knew them as the double spread ads in Star Wars Insider.
Yes.
Right? That was like the thing where you look at it and go, "Oh, I need to find this. I need to find this." And that was the ads that you look at and go, you know, it was like
before
a
the
checklist.
internet, right?
Yeah, right. The internet existed, right? Because I think Rebel Scum was around. Rebel Scum's been around for like 100 years. I feel like that's one of the earlier like collector sites, right? That's wild.
So I'm excited to see what else they would do because they revealed Momon Nadan. Like we haven't seen it yet, but they revealed that it's in the pipeline, which was pretty cool. Plus the 4 figures they just happened to drop at the end of their pipeline: Han, Chewie, Luke, Ben. Yes. And I'm like, whoa, go back.
Yeah.
Let's see those.
I got a feeling we're going to see those or at least something at San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like some kind of first looks. I'm so curious what San Diego's going to be. Like,
yeah, they'll have stuff. They'll have the cantina. They'll have now that it's back, they're definitely going to have the cantina, right? And they'll have the tonicas. They'll have, you know, Wooher and any other stretch goals that unlock. I'm sure they'll have.
That's interesting that you say that because what if it didn't get back? Would they still?
They wouldn't have it there.
Yeah,
I would have put it out there just to be like, look what you did not get.
Yeah. With regards to the return to Tatooine thing, you know, I will say like there are some ambitious things coming for that. And if you don't back this Haslab, and then you see what's coming for Return to Tatooine, and you know, you're at that point it'll make sense why you should have backed the Haslab. So I'm just saying, you know, back to bar, you know, you could sell it if you later, you know, but yeah.
Momo is real, folks.
Yeah.
That's now or regret later.
That's awesome. That is like the best sell I've heard of this cantina so far. Of like, there's shit coming, and if you don't get it, you're gonna regret it. It's just
they said that I think in the show that they released where they were supposed to announce it, but the May the 4th show, and they said, well, we really want to tell you what it is because we have so much planned around it, but we just have to hold off a little bit longer. And I'm like, Death Star. They're gonna have like all these Imperial troopers, and I'm like, but Cantina is better, really. I mean, I want a Death Star, but Cantina is better because the aliens are way more fun to collect than the humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're just tuning in, welcome to Cantina Social Hour. We're talking about the Eisely Cantina Haslab, that was funded today, is over 8,000 backers, and a range of other topics. We've got Ryan Doell from Toy Anxiety. We've got Dan Curto, formerly from rebelscum.com, hanging out with us. And we have 158 joining us at this point in the show. So thank you for being here with us. And if you are just joining us,
Hello there.
we're glad to see you. We're glad that you are here. So I'm going to do a run through the comments and see what folks are talking about. How runner based, do you think there will be a TVC SDCC exclusive? Well, they've kind of already announced the exclusives, right? And there's a Black Series one. It doesn't look at this point that there is an SDCC one, but remember that PulseCon is around the corner, so there may be something for that later. But as of now, nothing confirmed for SDCC for the vintage collection. Is there a reason for the delay? Stanley, are you referring to the Haslab delay from May the 4th to June the 7th? Let me know that's what you're referring to there. Bob, how's it going? I'm so excited for the Cantina. Yes, I think we all are very excited for the Cantina. Baymax says, I keep seeing peg holes in the outside of that Cantina. Peg holes for what? That's a detail I missed. I'll need to go back and look at that, but that's, if so, that's quite a catch because I missed it. Let's see here. Mary says, the missing Cantina band instrument is included in the Haslab. You see it leaning against the bar in the picture that shows all the pieces. Yes, so there is an extra Cantina instrument that will be included with the Cantina. So there is one more that will be in this set. So,
cool.
like I'm saying, you got to back the bar. If you want all your instruments, you got to back the bar. That's the only way we're going to get that instrument.
Does that mean we need to buy another band member?
Yeah, what they came out with a solo Dan, right?
Huh?
They came out with like the single carded, right? They did it. They got
Yeah.
it.
They did. I have him. I have the 7-pack, and I'm still waiting for the one that's the manager sitting in the crowd. I want that guy too.
Right. That 7-pack is so good.
Yeah.
It is. It needs to be reissued.
I understand it's just the same character, but when you put them all together, it just looks so good.
Yeah, it does. They need to bring that back though, because it's very expensive now. Tony says, I bet the Disney parks or Disney store will do Acmina like they do with the special treat. So, I mean, I love the idea. The only concern I have is Chewie is a very slight retool. Acmina would need to be 100% or, at least a somewhat retooled figure. I think if they can do that, then it would make sense. I posited the idea last week that maybe now that you have this new Tonica Sisters sculpt, they were tall. The actresses are, were tall. And B. Arthur was I think 5'10". They could reuse one of those and give her a new gown above the body, new head, maybe new forearms, and you could probably do that without too much trouble. So just throwing it out there. Hopefully Hasbro will do that, because I'd love to see that figure, and I think that would be a great way to release her.
Yeah, we'll have renders for you by next week, and we'll send them your way.
Yes, so I'm sure somebody will get on that. Let's see. Lorena, how's it going?
Go ahead.
Back. So Lorena was on the show last week, and she's saying do back. Yeah, I think a new do back is essential at this point. The last one was done in 2012 or so, when the Phantom Menace 3D line was out, and it was based on the Phantom Menace, not on the original trilogy design. So they really, the Black Series one is fabulous. I think if they just scaled that down, it would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good call too. And they did say they were getting back into Beasts, and I don't remember if that was the last fan first or if that was the one before. But I remember them saying they wanted to get back into Beasts.
They're doing the Blurg, right? With Mando.
Yes.
So,
that's exciting though too.
Yeah.
I'm putting that with my Ewok village.
What's that round speeder? The Ubrikian something or other? Mm-hmm. That's outside the Cantina. I mean, come on, that seems like a cool vehicle to get.
Yeah, that's a good call. That I would love to get that, and maybe a new Ronto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
I took a new Ronto for sure. Trevor says, does anybody know the name of the guy in the holiday special who's besides the modal nodes with the white face and blonde hair? I don't know if one of you guys knows or somebody else watching maybe knows. You can let us know. But
Just a moment.
Yeah, we got Wikipedia.
Dan's on it.
Save us.
That's
super cool. But I was thinking about the Disney parks earlier because someone brought up the Disney park stuff as well. Because everything is modular, I can't wait to see what the modding community is going to do with making and printing out extra pieces that connect. Because the bar exists the way it exists, you could totally make the booths. If you're good at, making renders and 3D printing and all that stuff, you could absolutely make all the other booths from Olga's Cantina. You could make the DJ booth and all that stuff. That'd be fun.
White face, red hair is Mirror Row.
We got a name.
I just happen to have like a cheat sheet of all the aliens from the Cantina, because I was looking to see like somebody on one of the Facebook threads had posted like, who would you like to see? And I was like, well, here's my top 10, right? And Momon Naidan all of a sudden was announced like a week later. So I'm like, oh, sweet. They'd take him off the list and throw another one on there.
Yeah. That's the best feeling.
Yeah. But yeah, the holiday special, they had some cool looking aliens in that show as well. So
for sure. They should do a whole Wookiee playset. Is what they should do.
They made a lot of Wookiees back in, Revenge of the Sith era. Lots of Wookiees.
Yeah. They sure did, yeah. Right. I'm with Stanley on this as well. Carson Teva. Gotta make them.
I'm surprised it's taken this long to do Carson Teva, but
true.
They need to update that X-Wing. They can't keep using the Luke figure for everything because it's just not, it's not even that old. It's like 2019 or something, but it's already at that point where, it needs to be updated. So
yeah, he'd be great for a pack-in with a new X-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
TVC selfie series, really?
TV, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. How would do that.
That'd be hard. Well, I guess you could do it.
I love the one that I got, my Black Series one, or Black Series, my 6-inch one, of me as a Ghostbuster. It looks incredible. Like they did, like I know some of them look horrible when you see them, but mine for whatever reason it just turned out like really good. So I guess it's hit and miss. But yeah, I don't know how it would look in TVC scale. Chewie's Treehouse. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yes. See, that'd be fun.
With all his family. Lumpy and all of them.
See, that'd be it. Like the Ewok Village or Chewie's Treehouse, any of that kind of stuff. I think that would also make a great future Haslab as well.
Yeah.
Like I know we've gotten like even the vintage, the actual vintage Ewok Village is pretty awesome. But man, to get like suspension bridges and all that kind of stuff, it would be so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, and I started to say this earlier in the show, but I'm hoping that with the success of the Cantina, that the Death Star is on the radar. I know it was, and here's the story I was going to tell earlier. So years ago, I had the honor of meeting with Mark Boudreau, who, if you're a Star Wars collector, you probably know the name. And he and I had many conversations, but one in particular was about Death Star. And of course, it's way too expensive to produce. It would not sell well because it would be too expensive. And this is, again, going back 2006, 7, 8, around that time frame. But he said to me, which I never forgot, he's like, we have multiple plans and designs, because he's been tinkering with it, right? For different styles of Death Stars, including a modular one. And I was like, ooh, tell me more about that. He goes, no, I can't tell you more about that. But I mean, just kind of like imagine what I love about this Cantina is that if you look at some of the floor plans, there are more rooms in the expanded universe than what was actually filmed, because that's what this is based on. This is based on what was actually filmed. But in the role-playing games, it's bigger. In some of the cutaway books, they show it, and there's a whole bunch to the cantina that's underground that we never actually saw.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to, you could buy multiple cantinas and just make it longer or have a door in the back. You could really do whatever you want. And that's the thing I love about playing. You were saying before, you made up your own adventures with your figures and stuff like that, And this, yes, you could take it apart and display just the exterior. You can display just the one booth where Han shot first, not last, not second, just first. You could display that separately, but you could add to it as well, which I love that whole idea. And this is the first time maybe that they've done something like that actually builds on. I think the Droid Factory from Attack of the Clones might they had different accessories that connected to make like the whole line, and then culminated.
And you can connect it to the Geonosis playset.
Yes, I was just gonna say they connected it to the arena, but it doesn't look like it connects, but it did, and they did something similar in the 30th anniversary line, but actually that went backwards to original trilogy, where they had a little piece of the bar with some of the cantina denizens, the patrons. You collect them all, you can connect the bar, right? They had in Saga, they had a part of the bar with a couple of stools. There were no stools, but they had stools. And then they had the corner pieces so you could connect them together. So, I mean, that was one of the attempts at making cantinas over the years. It's all culminating now. And that's what I was saying at the very beginning of the show. That's the exciting part for me, because you've had numerous attempts, but they weren't quite hitting the mark. Especially the first one, which was just a cardboard background from Sears. Now you got the whole thing, which is exciting.
It is, yeah. I agree. And I hope they put out like new decos, like Kenner decos for some of the original for TVC. Like I would love like the 4-pack that they do, like for Amazon or whatever. If they did like Pondo Baba but said Walrus Man, it says Hammerhead, but they have the colors. They're painted to look like the.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it.
I'd love that too, because they do it with Boba Fett all the time.
Right.
So let's get some of those Kenner colors back into some of the aliens.
And they did it with Greedo in the 6-inch.
Yes. Yeah, they totally did.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, once Hammerhead comes out next year, like that can be like one of those special action figure 3-packs that, like they did for the 501st, like they did for Dr. Aphra and BT1 and 000. Like they could do something like that with, just Kenner inspired, like Hammerhead, Walrus Man.
That would be a cool San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be awesome.
Because you can get away with crazy like, going to retail.
Yeah, and it's not one of those ones that you need, right? It's like, right. So that would make, you're right. Like that's like the perfect type of convention exclusive.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to say a couple of reminders here that, if you haven't backed, I know it's only a couple of days out, but if you haven't backed the bar yet and you're looking to, you don't get charged right away. Because I know that is a factor with a lot of folks. They don't charge you until the campaign ends, which you will get charged at this point because it has backed. But just I always like to remind people about that. Also,
it's not right away, but it's soon.
It's not right away, but it is very soon at this point.
Right.
Very, 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 very soon. All right, so let's talk about unlocking the tiers, because we still have 3 tiers that we can possibly hit, and the reason that these tiers exist is because Hasbro's cost at the production run of this cantina goes down the more units that they put into production. So the more that they make, the less it costs them, and these are basically bonuses for us to enjoy. So we got to get to 11,000 to get Greedo. We got to get to 14,000 to get Nabrin Leeds, and then we need to get to 17,000 to get Arliel Shoes. So this isn't over yet. There's still a couple of days for this to maybe happen, maybe not happen. But let's talk a little bit about the tiers, because if there's any reason for you to want to back multiple cantinas, because there are some of us here that are doing that, the more figures that we get, the more it is worth it to back multiple cantinas. So I'm just going to pull back up the Haslab page here so we can take a look and see where we're at the moment. Once again, we were at 87.10, now we're at 87.30, on our way beyond 8,000 and towards our first stretch goal, which is this fella right down here, Greedo himself. We've had a couple Greedos over the years, but this is the definitive, super articulated, up to 2024 standards, 3¾ inch Greedo. So as long as we can get to 11,000, and I honestly think that that's within the realm of likelihood.
Yeah.
We'll get Greedo for our collections on this exclusive card back.
Yeah, I think this one's I don't know. I feel like this is for sure we're gonna get this. But I also remember when the Ghost was still campaigning, it was like we got the last 2 stretch goals on the last 24 hours. It was a big push, and everyone said, "Oh, we're not gonna get." Who was the last one? It was Zeb. "Oh, we're not getting Zeb. We're not going to get Zeb." People kept saying, we'll maybe get Kanan, but we're not going to get Zeb. Everyone was saying that. And I feel like we're repeating exactly what happened last year.
Right.
So I don't know. I am holding out hope. Rebellions are built on hope. And I think that, all tiers, no tiers, we're going to get. I'm hoping we get all of them. I would love to have 2 wolf people in my cantina.
Yeah.
I wonder what's the significance between 3,000 for each of the tiers. I mean, why that number? It's always, if I look back, it's always been, I think, 3,000. Every 3,000 you get a new tier. Why not 2,000 if you're,
Yeah.
I wonder what the significance of that number is.
That's what the Ghost was too, was the same
Right.
tier, same numbers. I think again, it just has to do with the cost of creating more. The cost to do more cantinas goes down the more that they make. So I think it's probably they figured somehow in their accounting and whatnot, that hey, if we do get another 3,000, we can add this here. We do another 3,000, we can afford to throw this one in there. And I think that's probably just, that's the only reason I could think about, other than
like I said before, I think Greedo is going to come no matter what. Some different form, perhaps. I think a blue snaggletooth would have been better choice for here, but that's not what we got. So we got the Greedo. I do think Greedo is the most important Cantina alien in the scene. So good to include him here. But I think he's coming for sure. I think we'll hit him.
Yeah, I would say Greedo is, I would have, Hammerhead is pipelined, right? So I would say that Greedo probably should have been pipelined, if it were just me speaking. I probably would have put something different here. Maybe I would have had, Arliel Shoes here, and then Nabrin Leeds and, something else, Blue Snaggletooth maybe. But yeah, it you're right. It is what it is, right? So just based on what the situation is. If you look at the card back, even it's not the Kenner card, right? It's a different snapshot. Right. So he's going to be coming. You have to figure he's going to be coming in the main line too.
Yeah. But they did make a Snaggletooth not too long ago, I feel like, in Vintage Collection. Yeah. So, again, even if they wanted to include Blue Snaggletooth, it just would have been the same sculpt on the upper half and then just new legs.
No, I don't want
them
that
silver boots.
I don't want that one. I want a new sculpted Blue Snaggletooth in the jumpsuit with the beaded collar and I want the whole thing. Because, like I said, Gentle Giant made a statue of it, and it looks fantastic, and a mini bust. And
yes.
You could just use that. And he appeared. That character various ones. Appeared in Clone Wars, appeared in Rebels, just walking around background. So there's lots of modern entertainment if you want to focus on sort of modern. I don't know, it's like 10 years old now. But anyway, I don't want to beat the dead horse. It's not happening. Greedo it is. I love Rhodians. I've always thought that they were like a cool looking species. I wrote a fan fiction about a Rhodian Jedi many years ago. Probably nobody remembers, but that's okay. But yeah, cool. Let's who's the next guy? Girl, I don't know what the species.
Yeah, I mean, if they do blue Snaggletooth the way you're saying it, though, Dan, like with the blue jumpsuit and the silver boots and all that, like they have to do a red Snaggletooth too, don't they? I mean, you can't just do blue Snaggletooth.
Exactly. You could use the tooling for two completely different. And you make it a little bit shorter legs and some furry feet and furry hands. But they're all interchangeable nowadays, right? Hands and feet are plug in. I don't know what's the word.
I like this is a kind of a deep cut here. Hollow Net one says Uncle Ono. Yeah, you could do that with Greedo.
Yes.
I like Peak Obi-Wan's comment too. Dented toe moon boots and cool belt buckle.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, like those are the
cool.
details that, and plus, like the blue Snaggletooth was only available with the Sears Cantina, which again was just a cardboard backdrop. When Kenner did the Cantina proper, didn't have any figures, but the Snaggletooth suddenly was blue with silver boots and then was maroon with furry feet. Like, wait a minute, what happened there? As a kid, I'm like, I don't understand this, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a cool figure. And he's and again, because he is so rare and known for being that exclusive, it just seems like such a no-brainer to put him in something that's like crazy exclusive.
But now think back to your comment earlier. So take the Snaggletooth, Ponda Baba in the Walrus Man deco, Hammerhead in his blue swimsuit, and Greedo in his alternate colors, and do them, the four of them, as a Comic-Con exclusive. I mean, fans would eat that up. I would imagine. Even Kenner fans. I mean, I know people that just do old school Kenner. They'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, that's my jam right there."
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
That's how you get us.
Yeah, just one comment here from Just Capstar. I felt personally they should have said what the Haslab is, and we'll start funding day one in a month in advance. So we saved up not knowing, but having time, people get saved longer. Yeah, I mean, it's Haslabs are always expensive, right? They're always going to be more than, something you'd buy in the store. And they did tell us back in early to mid-March that this was coming. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? Like, we did have some heads up about it, and yeah, you got to save up for it essentially, or if you need to know Haslab's coming. So
I mean, this is kind of the point of Haslab, right? To do some larger, more expensive items that wouldn't succeed at retail. So
the USS flags of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe guys get a Star Destroyer that size.
Do you guys have the other? Victoria, I saw you posted something on Instagram about the other Haslab vintage collection, the vehicles. Do you guys have all the other three? The sail barge, the Ghost, the Razor Crest?
I could not afford the barge at the time, so it breaks my heart that I do not have one. But I have the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, I will have the Quadrinity once the Cantina arrives.
Right. This is my first. So I did not back the barge because I couldn't afford it at the time. I did not back the Razor Crest because of the same reason. However, I was able to buy one from a friend of mine because he got two. So I got it at a good price. And I did not back the Ghost just because where am I going to put that thing?
Yeah, I'm still asking myself that question. That's a fall problem.
Exactly.
Right.
That's I know I don't have the room for any of these. I know I don't, but it's just like I never asked myself that question, where's it going to go until it comes, and then it's like, okay, here it is. Now, where are you going to put it?
Now, having said all that, I did back two Cantinas, so whatever.
There you go. And I'm just curious, Dan. So why was it the Cantina that was the one that you said, hey, this is the first one I'm going to back?
Well, couple reasons. Number one, I could afford it right now. So in the past, I was not able to, but now I can. That's probably the most important reason. But also because, again, like we've been saying all night, the Cantina is, for me, one of the, if not the most iconic scene from Empire is my favorite Star Wars film, but from Star Wars, one of my favorite films, right? So this just hit all the nostalgic buttons. And the fact that we're getting the Tonica sisters, and they've been told years we can't do it, I'm like, no. I'm going to help support this because this is definitely what I want. And I got two because I want to put that extra. I want to build a longer Cantina because that's what the book says.
Nice.
So I need extra alcoves.
No, you didn't just get the deluxe, or did you just get two?
I got
basics?
one of each. One of each.
Oh, you got one of each. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some comments, Dan. Just so you know, Dan. There's some comments about cherry popping and stuff about you.
Yes.
So,
About what?
about you, because it's your first Haslab. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of context.
Anyway.
That ship sailed long ago, my friend.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited to get it. And we'll figure out space wise later. I am rearranging my entire collection room, which is why you don't see much of it behind me because it's a big nothing but cardboard boxes right now, so it's not very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the barge is still the Cantina is going to be my number one, but the barge, like, definitely second. Like I enjoy the Ghost or the Razor Crest. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the Ghost too, but neither of them I don't think are going to hold a candle to the barge, and the barge is going to be
right,
separated from the Cantina too. All right, so the next tier is Nabrin Leads at 14,000 backers. They've made this one before twice. Mm-hmm. Power of the Force 2 Cinema Scene. He came out. He had a white, like a pearlescent white outfit. And then they re-released him during the Saga collection in 2000. I think it was like early 2007 or somewhere in that time frame. And he had the silver outfit, or she. I don't know. Nabrin Leeds is a.
Well, there's two in the Cantina, so I always pretended that that was both of them. I don't know which is which, but I there's a detail I did not know. Is that this alien Nabrin Leeds drinks through the little snout. I did not know that.
Yeah,
how else would you drink?
That. Yeah. So yeah, it's one that needed an update for sure. I think there's others that maybe needed an update even more personally, but it is one that certainly dates back to the 90s, so the sculpt definitely needed to be updated. After that,
it doesn't come with a giant rifle this time.
He doesn't have that big double-barreled rifle this time. Yeah, Arleel Shus. This is a debut for the line. He's never been made before. We got Lax Sivrak back in the 90s, which at the time was a really exciting one because I like Wolfman type like monsters and characters. But this was my number 2 after the Tonicas. This is the one I wanted. Second out of all of them. So even if this one doesn't back, I hope that they do find it in their hearts to say, hey, this is one we need to put out there because I know this would be one that. I know it's not just me. I know other people want Arleel Shus too.
I will say that although I hope that it funds and everything and gets they hit the tier, HasLabs have released figures that didn't get funded in their main line. Marvel Legends just announced the Son of Satan, Damian Hellstrom, who was part of the Ghost Rider car that didn't get funded. Exact figure. And maybe thought we wouldn't notice? I don't know. So it's possible. It just probably wouldn't be on that card back. It would be on a different packaging.
Right. But I'm glad they are doing that because it actually kind of gave us hope. Because there was a lot of figures in that not to pivot over to Marvel Legends, but I mean, like, it did give us hope in that sense of like if something doesn't necessarily get back, there still might be a chance that we get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm hoping, if I still think that we're going to get this on Monday afternoon, we're gonna all of a sudden see that we're at 17,001 backers.
Yeah. And you're right, because they do spike the last day.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm very hopeful that ends up happening. Let me see here. I saw a question.
Also, I did not know that he wore a ski jacket.
Yeah. I know Chris from Bantha School always says that's like the members only jacket that he was wearing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adam Odell says, asking, will the Cantina Deluxe version add different boxes? So this was addressed during the Q&A last week, and they said that it will not. It'll have the same exact box. That's all they said. What I think is going to happen is there's probably going to be like a brown cardboard insert in the regular version to kind of take up that space. And then if you get the deluxe version, it just won't have that cardboard insert. It'll have the full playset in there.
Right. I do like how they pack these big play sets now, like the Jabba's Palace that came out last year.
Yeah.
It's like they made that pack, right? It's when you open it, I feel like that was made specifically for people who do unboxing videos because the way it comes out in the sections and it's all organized and it's nice and neat. And I was like, this is a treat to open because you're not just like dumping stuff out. It felt special opening it. So it gives me hopes for this one too.
It was really nice. It made it harder for me too to throw out the box like afterward because it was just a nice like experience going through them like that.
Yeah, I didn't throw away the box because of that. I was like, no, I guess I'm keeping this.
How could you throw away the box?
Oh, yeah, because I have another one that's not open.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't go for the Jabba's throne room at the time. Again, it was pricey, but they just not long ago had it for like less than 150 on sale. I'm like, ooh, I could do that. Yeah. So I did it.
Yeah, it's a good score. It's worth that. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And you got Bib Fortuna with it too. So cool. So we're gonna go ahead and switch gears here. I want to talk a little bit about plans for our own cantinas. We kind of touched a little bit about it, and I see people are commenting still about the modularity of it, and that's what got them to back the bar. So can we talk a little bit about what our own plans are for how we're going to display our cantinas? You know, I know I always think about things, and I get it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something different. But initially, like right now, like what are we thinking? How are we going to display our cantinas once they make their way to our collections?
Oh my gosh. Dan, have you thought about this?
I really liked it. Was kind of cheesy, but that's what I kind of liked about it. The video they put out where they showed it on the shelf. It was like the second video Hasbro released, and they show like how you could have like part of it up on one shelf and part of it on another shelf. And I think I'll end up displaying it like that because you get more bang for your buck that way. And that's, again, the modularity of modularity of this product, which gives you lots of different options. If I want to display an outside, right, with maybe a new dewback or a couple of who's the alien Eisely who bought Luke's land speeder? Yeah, it could be hanging out there. A lot of fun ways because I don't have any place to put it fully assembled like on a permanent basis. But I'll probably put it together a couple times just to look at it, take pictures of it, and then take it apart.
Yeah, I'm with Dan on this one too because again, just trying to figure out, okay, what would I do? And I think I would want to do the same thing where it's kind of like the top shelf has the entranceway. You can have that Imperial spy hanging out there, some sand troopers, a dewback. You could really make it nice, like something nice on the outside for Tatooine. Bunch of Jawas out there, droids, all that kind of stuff. And then you do the shelf underneath with the bar. And then, of course, you can make that look darker and, a little dimmer and all that kind of stuff. You could do, again, because it's modular, I feel like you can do so much more with it. Right? You're almost getting like, if you set it up in a certain way, you're almost getting 2 playset displays for the price of one.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. And I'm curious to see what people are going to do with their own cantina. So let us know here in the comments. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the ideal would be to set up the whole thing. Like if you have the deluxe, setting up the whole thing. But that would be the kind of thing where I would need like a special like coffee table or something to do that. So initially, what I'm thinking is I'm going to display like, and I love that they did that video with Emily and Matt Cohen, like showing how you could do it like in different ways.
That was cool.
Because I think I am going to do like half the bar or half the cantina, with the alcoves and the entrance and then the actual bar in the middle. And I'll just look at it like as a side view, and then I'll put the characters around that. And then the other half, I think I'll probably display like maybe on another shelf so that I can kind of see them a little more. Because that is one thing I feel like against having the whole thing built out is that once you put everything in there, if you're looking at it from the side, you're not going to see everything very well. Unless you do like that, like an omniscient view where you're just like on top of it, looking at it that way. But so I think I'm going to kind of break it up a little bit. But I love that I'm going to be able to play with it and kind of see what works best for my space once I get it, and then go from there. And of course, all my Cantina aliens, because I have every single one.
Yep.
Going back since I've been buying them in the 90s, they're all over here on this little tiny shelf with the snippet of that background, the 3D cardboard diorama. And some of those plastic bars with the stools we were talking about earlier.
I did the exact same thing. Yeah, I carved out the paper bar and I slid the plastic one in.
Yeah,
Nice.
That was the thing to do, because it, the plastic ones didn't come with any like dispensary or anything, distillery, one of the two.
Years ago at Star Wars Celebration 2. There was a diorama room where you could build Mos Eisley, right? Fans could come in throughout the weekend. You could put together, you build the buildings, you build the cantina, you build Docking Bay 94, the whole thing. The table that it was on, because everybody was building it, was like 10 feet by 15 feet. I mean, it was huge. And they built the whole entire thing. But the cantina itself is actually a pretty big part of Mos Eisley, if you think of it that way. And just sort of like flashing back to that time, which was 22 years ago. It's fun, and this is part of the fun of collecting the toys, part of the fun of playing with your toys, displaying your toys, whatever. Just building out the worlds and recreating scenes from the films or whatever. I mean, again, this hits all the nostalgic points for me, which is why I was really excited.
Yeah, it's like Ryan said earlier, you're only limited by the bounds of your imagination, so you can do whatever you want with it. And I do see a few comments in here what folks are going to be doing with theirs. So let's see here. Adam says he's going to wait till he has it in hand before he decides how to display it. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. Lorena says, I think we will use 3-tier wall shelves to show it. Right now it's Jabba's Palace and the skiff. That'll be cool. Hello Runner Base says, I'll learn to wood shop a custom coffee table if I have to.
Learn new hobbies. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, if one hobby expands into another hobby, that's expensive, first of all, but it's also kind of cool.
Yes.
Have one side of the shelf in the bar at the front entrance and alcoves on another setup.
Yeah, they did that in the Hasbro video we talked about before. One thing that I loved about that also is that they showed all of the band members fit in the alcove, because that was like a biggest question. Right. Where's the stage? Where's the stage? Well, there was no stage. And if you looked at the floor plan, they fit in one of those alcoves. It actually says the band plays here, right? And if you've ever been to a bar, bands don't have stages. They kind of just squish in a corner somewhere.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I thought that was really smart of was it Emily and Matt to show that the band does fit in the alcove. So they did think about that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where they were in the movie. They were filmed in just the same alcove all the other aliens were. So they didn't have a dedicated stage.
Yeah, I think the stage comes from a few other things, though. I'm going to plug Toy Anxiety here for a hot second, because I did a video where I go through all the Cantina patrons that they've made, and I was kind of breaking down like clips from, you know, A New Hope and from the new Star Wars Outlaws and Lego Star Wars video games. And I was like, this is where the people think there's a stage. And it's
Right.
usually from like stuff from like Family Guy, or it's from Star Wars Lego, where it's like it's in one of those coves, but it's slightly raised. So I'm just like, this is where people think there's a stage. It's not
Right.
really there, but it's kind of
Now-
there for other media or other purposes.
If you want a stage, the 30th anniversary collection had a Disney park exclusive Cantina band member that came with a little bit of a stage that played the song.
They actually have
remember-
all 5 and they connected,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Well, not
Yep.
all 5, the 5.
Well, they were the same.
Yes.
Yeah. You could line them all up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a fun video, Ryan. I really enjoyed watching that one.
Thank you.
So I think another place, like for me, this is where the stage thing comes from. And the Holiday Special is one of them because, you know, they're seen on the stage there. But
Right.
there's this poster, and I used to have it back in the 90s, like hanging in my bedroom as a kid. This poster of the cantina, and like it kind of looks like they're on a stage, right, with the lights and everything. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of I can understand why people might think, you know, that there was a stage in there because there was all these things kind of indicating that they should have been on the stage somewhere, right? But yeah, I need to buy that poster again. That was a fun one.
Get a blacklight for it this time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right. And I see some very nice comments. Thank you guys very much for your nice comments. I appreciate those very much. All right. So I do want to update you guys on the group buy for Angela Staines' Cantina. As I mentioned during last week's stream, we got enough donations to buy her the deluxe Cantina. It has been backed. Once I receive it next year, fall 2025, I think at the earliest, the plan is that I deliver it to her personally. And you know, it'll be the end of this whole thing that started years ago when I first interviewed her back in 2017. And it'll be, I'll just do like a little mini documentary kind of thing about the whole thing, and that'll just be the end of it. Then I can take a vacation or whatever. But yeah, thanks again to everybody who donated. We really appreciate that. And your names will be on a card that accompanies this cantina once it gets delivered to her. And yeah, thank you for that. And we're going to go ahead and move into our final segment, which is new acquisitions, things that we've added to our collections recently. So who wants to go first for show and tell?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Mine are pretty quick and easy. These ones finally came in. A little bit redundant because I feel like I didn't need these. I feel like I just got them because it was like a new pram. So I fell into that trap of I'm almost buying this for the accessories, but I got the new TVC Grogu that came in, and the what is it? The Razor Crest exclusive will not be made outside of this Mandalorian with soft goods cape. I already have the Razor Crest, so I'm actually not too sure why I picked the split up. It was one of those things when I got home and I was like, I probably didn't need this. This is how we get caught as collectors, where it's like, but this one's on card, and I don't know. That's just what I was doing. And then because now we're getting into the carded stuff with the original trilogy, and I love the original trilogy cards. Or like A New Hope cards where it's just Star Wars on it and it's got the poster logos on it. I really like these. I don't keep a lot of stuff on card, but I really, really, really like how these look on the card. I don't know what, this is where my nostalgia kicks in. So I've got Leia. She's on the way. Hopefully she'll arrive sometime soon, probably next week. And I'm excited for all those new pipeline figures. The, Old Ben and Luke and Han and Chewie. I'm always excited to get more of those. I'm really hoping they make a new 3PO, Metalvac, maybe. That'd be great. Otherwise, I think that's really it. Those are my pickups.
Nice.
Just a couple four legacy scale figures. That is it.
Awesome. And you get the ankles on that Mandalorian. So you do need him.
I do need. Okay, then I am going to crack that open.
Yeah. I think that's the best.
Thank you for
overall.
confirming.
Yes, you get the rocker ankles. I think that is the best. Like if somebody doesn't have a Mandalorian and that's in the scale, that's the best one.
Yes.
And it's kind of even the one
Oh.
you could reuse for multiple scenes. So you might want to buy extra.
Sure. And if you got an N1, which again, that's a great vehicle that they released. This is, and you didn't get the Razor Crest. This is your best Mando for it as well. So,
yep.
If you're new to collecting, if you're starting, this is the Mando you need.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do want to mention, if anybody in the comments wants to share, if you're visiting with us here in the chat, as always, let us know what you've added to your collection. We'll call them out at the end. Dan, do you have anything new you'd like to share that you've added to your collection?
Well, all the things that he just said, I actually got last week, which was cool. I did today. I got Zeb. I don't know how this is going to come in focus or not. I got the deluxe Zeb, which I was opening before the show. I got the new version of Darth Vader, which I hear is great, but haven't opened him yet. And then I just got what is his name? Captain Enoch and Thrawn's Night Troopers.
Nice. Yeah, mine's in the mail too for that.
It's probably not going to show up very well. I got those, and I also got it's a little bit older set, Ahsoka with the 3 droids from the Clone Wars. I got them for the droids because I already have one of the Ahsokas. And what did I get? Oh, I got from Kids Warehouse or Kids Playhouse or whatever. Just one that I missed, and it's 6-inch scale. Bodhi Rook from Rogue One, because I never got him, and he was like $7 or something. So I picked him up. Oh, then and this is not Star Wars, but I got this ridiculous looking thing. The Cyborg Spider Woman from
Yes.
I don't know what about this figure says woman, but I don't know. Looks cool, so I picked that one up.
Hey, Dan, you probably do not know this. I worked on that movie. So, yeah, I worked on both Spider-Verse movies. So she's just jacked. That's why she just looks the way she looks. She's just she's hulked out.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely hulked out. I just thought it was a cool looking character in the film, and I was like, all right, well, it wasn't very expensive because it was on clearance at Kids Warehouse. So I was like, I'm just gonna add her to my. I say I don't, but I do have quite a few. I don't really do 6-inch a lot.
Right.
I collect Wolverine, so I have like every 6-inch Marvel Legends Wolverine, but I don't really like to collect any more 6-inch figures, but I did get the other X-Men in the team uniforms. And I have like a whole ton of 6-inch figures over here. So I say I don't really collect them, and then I look around, I'm like, yeah, you do. You
can't help it, man. X-Men are so
but
hot
my
right now.
passion. Oh yeah, well, the animated series was fantastic. So and Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm super excited. I am more excited for that film of anything that has come out probably in the last 5 years.
Right.
Just because Wolverine's my absolute favorite character. So
nice.
Anyway, side note. Yeah, and I have what was it? Jabba's throne with 8D8. I have that coming eventually, and I got 2 big cantinas coming next year. So, but it's weird.
Space danger
right?
is
so
real,
just, right? The it's weird because even though there's really no point anymore, I still go to the stores. and I still hunt, even though like retail is really not a thing for Star Wars anymore. It's all online. And I say this because I
Right.
really want to walk in one day and be surprised and find vintage collection figures, but you never do. At least in my area, now upstate New York, that maybe not such the greatest place to look for these type of things, but the collecting hobby has shifted, obviously, and yeah, so I'm just get excited when I hear, oh, FedEx, cool, I'm getting a new figure in the mail the next couple days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's same up here in Canada. It's the exact same thing. It's we collect on hard mode. But no, it's the same thing. Like I think what was it? You said that you got the Clone Wars 4-pack with the 3 droids and Ahsoka.
Yes, yeah, that was
that
from
hasn't even
Amazon.
yes, that hasn't even shown up yet to order in Amazon Canada.
Really? Wow.
It's like that's what I mean by like we collect on hard mode. Sometimes we don't even know if we're gonna get the exclusive up here or not, and then sometimes it'll show up at like GameStop, like when it was supposed to like. It's like, wait, what? I thought this was exclusive. Then it's at GameStop. It's at our Toys R Us. It's wild.
This is a couple weeks ago. Or months ago, I got this Revan and HK-47 at GameStop. The regular version of Revan I had on order in November, and it got canceled. And I've never ever seen it. It's never on eBay and for like less than $50. And I have an order with Entertainment Earth that it's not going to ship till like, I don't know, October, maybe January.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you short pack Darth Revan?
Yeah.
Don't
understand.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah. At any rate, what about you, Victoria? What have you gotten?
So firstly, there's Greg Lutz. Greg, we shouted you out earlier because you did back during last week's stream. You backed the bar. So thank you again for doing that. And sorry we missed you last week, but we're saying it now. So for me, so this is what I ended up with. I'm just going to share my Instagram here. I got the latest wave of the vintage collection from Entertainment Earth. I got 2 cases. And talking about how that Mandalorian a little while ago that Ryan was showing us is a great one if you're getting into 3 3/4 inch the vintage collection. This is a great wave too to kickstart your collection because you're getting Princess Leia, Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, Luke and X-Wing pilot, R2-D2, and Captain Rex, which I think Captain Rex is an absolute essential. And it's really cool to have a wave that has all these figures from a single source. Like we don't really see that anymore, not since like the older date, like long time ago. So it's really cool. So Captain Rex is kind of the odd man, out in here, but it's still a really cool figure. Yes, the only completely brand new sculpt in this set in this wave is Leia. All the other ones are repaints and, varying extents of retools. But it is a fantastic set, probably my personal favorite wave of the year. So I know people have been getting this for a couple of weeks now, and I was a little late receiving it, but I was super excited to get it. And I have a couple of them here that I'll go ahead and show. So here's Leia. And she's very washed out because she's wearing white. But she's really nice.
Yeah, that's a great figure. It really is.
Yeah, I'm excited to get this one too.
Yeah, I love how they did the back where you can just pull out pull that out and you can put the hood on if you wanted to. Like that's just such a convenient way to do it. Mm-hmm. So I have one in my Tana V4 setup, and then I have Vader right here. And Vader has the opposite problem. It's hard to see because he's all black. But yeah, you can kind of see they did do the red lenses, which was one of the things I was worried about initially. They are kind of subtle, but it's more noticeable than some of the other Vaders they've done over the last couple of years. And he looks really nice. It is the dark,
the Rogue One Vader.
Yeah, so this one's based off the Dark Times figure that came out from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is the 4th time we've seen it. But this one's different because it has a retooled upper torso with the tabards that come over the armor. And then I think it's the same helmet though. I think they just they tinted the lens a little bit more red. And he's got the same gloves as the Dark Times Vader too. So it is a nice one. He has some interchangeable hands. The other ones are in their scenes because those are the only ones that came duplicates in the wave. And I have my carded set, and then I have my loose set, which are here. But the other ones only came like one of each, and I've already fit them into their scenes around the collection room. The Vader and the Leia went into the Tana V4, and then Captain Rex went into the 501st setup, and then R2D2 went into the Tana V4. So that's 3 that went into the same diorama, which is kind of cool. And then Luke Skywalker, he just went onto the shelf with the Rebel vehicles, like the X-wing, the B-wing, and such.
Is that Luke any different from the previous release?
Nope, exactly the same.
Okay.
The Stormtrooper, though, does have a very small change. So they gave his lenses on his helmet a very slight green tint, which is accurate to the film. Initially, I thought, and I posted it online. I said, hey, this is accurate to Return of the Jedi. And then some people started saying, oh, actually, in A New Hope, they were like that too. And some people were nice about it, but then like some people weren't very nice about it. Like they were like, yeah, long established that, they had him too in A New Hope. And I'm like, okay, you're a bigger nerd than I am. Fine.
Actually.
So yeah, that is interesting though that they did that to the figure. They gave him a really small change by putting green lenses on it. So
no, that's cool.
Like those variants.
Now you're gonna have to buy like 50 of them.
Yeah. Don't say that. Yeah. So let's look at the chat here and see what people have added to their collections. Pico B1 says that he got Zeb and that it's his figure of the year. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I haven't had a chance to dive into it yet and play with it. I just opened it right when you started the show.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a great figure. I'm with Pico Obi-Wan on that one. It's good.
Let's see. Troy says, yesterday I got the new TVC R2 Leia Stormtrooper and Vader. Very cool. Mary says, I got Captain Enox and Thrawn's Troopers, a couple of Leia's, Ezra's, and Kiddig Keed Kak. I love it. I love saying that name. Keep telling me that. Kiddig Keed Kak.
Oh, yeah, I got Ezra too.
Nothing cooler than a praying mantis in a hula skirt.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Pico B1 also got Vader, Stormtrooper R2 last week, and 20th Luke X-Wing on the way for tomorrow. Nice. William says Thrawn's Troopers, still waiting on Leia, so I can get my pile lead ship from Big Bad Toy Store. I know how that is, waiting for everything to come in at once. Britt says that she got Black Series Soul, May, and Yord. That I haven't even heard of anybody getting those, Britt, so that's really cool.
Wow.
Nice. I'm also part of the Yord Horde, so I get it.
Nice. Let's see what else we got here. Rick says picked up the vintage collection Leia, Vader, X-Wing, Luke, R2, Cal Kestis in disguise, older TVC Sandtrooper and 30th anniversary Sandtroopers, Hot Toys Clone Commander Fox, and the Acolyte Black Series Wave. Very nice. Another person getting the Black Series Wave.
Wow.
And Commander Fox too. Wow, that's quite a loot to receive.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody, so I apologize if I
I forgot.
But let's see. Thank you, Rocket City Sith. I do see your comment there. That's very nice. Thank you. No name says the Rebels guy is on his way in the mail. The Jedi Master Kanan Jarrus TBC. Nice.
Cool.
And Brent says the bubble ring has been especially bad with this wave. Not on mine. Like I said, I got 2 cases and neither of them had any of the ring on there. So it's interesting to hear that that's still happening for some folks. Rogue Killer received the Judge, Night Troopers, and Vader this week. Nice.
The Judge is shipping it too, I guess, eh?
Yeah. My reissued TVC Stormtrooper definitely has dark green helmet islands. Is awesome. Awesome. So you noticed that too. 50 stormtroopers, Brent? Really? I forgot how many I remember from different-
No
See,
wonder we can't find any.
That's how it is with stormtroopers.
It is. That's why I'm always
Right.
surprised that they don't always have them in stock, like the 5-packs, where it's
Right.
just in the box. Like I'm always surprised they're just not constantly available.
Lorena says, I have
Not-
some Clone Wars line jetpacks, so I may have an opening there. Very nice.
It's not vintage collection, but I did get a couple weeks ago this big giant Darth Vader case, which
Holy
is
cow.
an 8-pack of the Disney toy box figures.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, that's
Which-
cool.
I thought was kind of neat, and I will open it, but I kind of don't want to because it's pretty cool like this. But I like the animated style of the toy box line, so I don't have very many of them. I think this I only have one besides this, and it's Mandalorian. So I'm curious to see how this looks. I forgot I had it, and I just looked around. I was like, oh yeah, I got that.
I like the
Interesting.
throwback of it being a Darth Vader head carrying case.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Right? I love that.
Howrunner Base got the Leia and R2 recently. I was lucky to get R2 for $9.97 from Amazon pre-order mix-up. Jeff says Night Troopers arrived today and they're fantastic. I haven't gotten my Night Troopers quite yet. Let's see what else here. Tony says my Hot Toy C3PO came in this week. Congrats, that's
I'm
a cool
jealous.
one. I think mine comes next week. I think because I had to wait a long time for that one.
I held off. And then the moment I was like, oh, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to get it. Then it was like wait list. I'm like, guess I'm not. I'm just going to not do it.
Oh, I wonder if anybody else has it.
Other places do, but I'm just like, no, I'm using that as my way of being like, nope, don't do it. Just don't do it. Because then I'm going to need R2 and then I'm going to need, nope.
Yeah, that is true. I think we got everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Oh, Bob says that he got Night Troopers as well as Mayum Onith. Very nice. Going back to the post original trilogy collection there. Brett's asking for basil. Oh, we need basil too. Okay. Yeah, we need more. Yeah, so I think that's everybody's new acquisitions. All right. So as we wind things down here for next week, we're continuing the Cantina theme into next week because it doesn't fund until Monday, so we still got catching up to do, right? It doesn't end until Monday, so we have catching up to do still. So for next week, Cantina Social Hour, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We have Toys Are the Way returning to the show. We got making their first time appearances on the show, Susan Alexander and Peak Obi-Wan Customs. Peak Obi-Wan does amazing customs over on Instagram. Will be joining us for next week's show. And we have a Saturday show as well. Every once in a while we do Saturday show as well. So not only on Friday will we be here at 6 p.m. On Saturday, we'll be here as well at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm still finalizing the guest list, but they are folks that have been on over the last few weeks as part of this Back the Bar campaign. So you will see some of those folks returning. And it'll be our Saturday Cantina Social Hour special. So I hope you're able to tune in for that. That being said, we've been going over 2 hours now, so I want to thank again everybody who's been hanging out with us this entire time. Thank you. Thanks to all of our participants here in the chat. We really appreciate you. If you've been watching, thank you very much for watching and hanging out with us this fine evening. And a huge thanks to our guests, Ryan and Dan, for hanging out with us tonight. Now, I do have links down in, I was going to say the show notes, in the description to where our viewers can go and access your socials and such. But just to let everybody know, Ryan, we'll start with you. Where can people go to look you up on the interwebs?
You can find me at Ryan Doell 31, pretty much across any kind of social media. And for Toy Anxiety, just type in Toy Anxiety on YouTube. We'll pop right up. That's on Tuesday nights, 6:30 Pacific, and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific is my other channel, Gotham City Tonight, where myself and we just talking comic books because I love my comics. So that's where I am for that, and that's where you'll find me. Every now and then you'll find me over on Bitter Asian Dude with Paul Sang-Hyung Lee as well on Saturday nights. Sometimes we do some live streams there. Sometimes we don't. Set your notification bells, find out when we're streaming, that kind of thing. So that's where you'll find me. I'm all over the place.
Awesome. And Dan, where can our visitors go to look you up?
Well, I'm so boring compared to all that. I don't do a lot of this stuff anymore. I sort of retired, but I still love to come on and talk about Star Wars, obviously. But I hang out mostly just on Facebook and occasionally post on Instagram, or I cross between the two. I don't know. I really don't use Twitter, X, whatever anymore. But if you're interested in seeing the ribs that I did over the weekend, my adventures with my grandson or the dogs, you can enjoy that. Plus, I do whatever nerdy kind of crap I feel like doing because I do collect a lot of different things. And I've just started doing a review, not a review really, but like a recap of all the Marvel live action projects from the 70s till now. Because you never know who's going to show up in the multiverse. So
that's true.
Not Star Wars, but hey, whatever.
Hey, still fun.
Still fun, yeah. And I do, like I said, I do enjoy coming on. And the last time, Victoria, you and I talked, we had a lengthy conversation about Star Wars figures, and that was so much fun for me. And I hope the listeners enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely. That was part of our retrospective so we started with the Power of the Force too, and then we're working our way all the way up to present date. It's taken years to finish it. But we left off on the 30th anniversary collection line with more to come. So when we find the time to do that. But yeah, awesome. Thanks again, you guys, for being here. It's been fun. And it's, great to have you guys on talking about the cantina and backing the bar and all these other areas that our conversation went. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys immensely.
You are welcome anytime.
Yep, my pleasure.
Awesome. And just real quick, one more time, we're going to see where this is at. So it's at 8,749. So I don't remember what it was initially, but I feel like it's gone up around 100-ish since we started a couple hours ago. So not bad. I'm glad that number is continuing to increase. I'm going to keep saying it. Back the bar. Time for Tonica. It's happening. It's finally happening. But yeah, keep backing the bar. We want to get those stretch goals, those tiers. So thank you, everybody. No matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy, always appreciate you here at Cantina Social Hour. Until next week, same time. May the Force be with you. Be well, be safe. And we'll catch you in the next live stream. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.